Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartia, and welcome to our 2022 predictions series. And today we have with us once again Blair Lyon, VP of Cloud Experience at Linode. Blair, it's great to have you on the show.
It's great to be here, Swap. Thank you.
Before I ask you to pick up your crystal ball and share your predictions with us, please quickly tell us what is Linode all about?
At Linode, our mission really is to help developers and startups and businesses accelerate innovation by making cloud computing simple and affordable and really accessible to everyone. We're part of this kind of select group of hyperscale cloud providers that gives developers and companies a true alternative to the big guys, to Amazon and Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. And what's cool is that we help pioneer the cloud computing industry. We actually launched Linode 3 years before Amazon AWS. And today we're one of the largest independent cloud providers in the world.
Excellent. Now it's time for you to grab your crystal ball and tell us what predictions you have for 2022.
Sure. Yeah. If you look back just at 2020, that was like this electric shock that woke up SaaS providers and enterprises to the challenges of scale and digital transformation into the cloud with this sort of like online everywhere, virtual work, virtual everything that we experienced, once the pandemic hit. And 2021 was the year really where those same organizations accomplished like a decade's worth of infrastructure and application delivery modernization in that time period. And then when I look at 2022, these realities all point to several key trends for cloud-savvy businesses. So it's going to be an exciting year, and I got 4 predictions for you.
Yeah, so let's get started with those predictions.
All right. So our first prediction is that managed security will really become table stakes. So what I mean is 83% of IT leaders with in-house security teams said they are considering outsourcing their security. So outsourcing it to systems integrators and MSPs and outside parties in 2021, and that will only accelerate in 2022. So this concept of managed security offerings, where it's kind of like something everyone's really talking about being must-have, are going to be driven by a couple of factors. So, first, the security layer of application development is going to be continuing to get more and more complex, and we're going to be looking at more open source tooling and third-party tooling to be able to help accelerate and make that more effective. And second, the continual production and security threats that will only increase in sophistication and complexity. We need to be ready for that. And those attacks are becoming more frequent and more debilitating than ever. So shooting security to the top of everyone's priority list, so enterprises and SMBs alike, is really going to be what 2022 is all about. Our second prediction for 2022 is all about the alternative cloud. So what I mean by this is that there is this sort of unique group of cloud providers, and Linode is in there, DigitalOcean, OVH, and a few others, that are viable alternatives really to the big guys. And what makes this viable alternatives is that for about 80 to 90% of your workloads, you can use one of these alternative providers, either as your primary or for sure as a multi-cloud option. So as alternative cloud as a category continues to grow, you're going to see more and more multi-cloud driven off of that trend. So right now, about more than 50% of businesses are using multi-cloud already today. And we're seeing in some of the reports that about 90+% of businesses already have some sort of multi-cloud plan or strategy in the works, and 80+% have some sort of hybrid cloud strategy in the works. And I see this as a really good thing, choice, being able to diversify your risk, being able to have better cost-effective strategies for working with different vendors, I think is great. Avoiding lock-in, things like that are going to be wonderful. And we're starting to see some really interesting things, even not just at the enterprise and small business sector, but also for startups. So venture capital firms that I'm talking to are now advising their startups to really kind of step back away from sort of the this massive amount of free credits that you can get from providers like AWS and others, and saying it's better really to kind of roll your own and use the cloud more for its core primitives and be sort of cloud agnostic, and then be able to use those open source tools and those third-party tools that you can have better control over, better ownership of, better transparency into the security of those tools, so that as you grow, you're not having to be kind of stuck inside these walled gardens of the large cloud providers. So that's really exciting. So I'm really excited for the continual sort of development and I guess growth of the alternative cloud category. And then third, there's this whole concept of how location is becoming more and more a factor in people's cloud strategies. So operating across political boundaries continues to put more focus on things like data sovereignty and the data gravity that will drive this emergence in best practices. So I mean, the reality is that location risks aren't going away. In fact, I mean, things like nationalism and protectionism are only going to kind of hasten this complicating factor that we're all having about where I should be running my application and where my data needs to live. So by this time next year, we think that there will be more and more best practices and tools about how businesses can really manage their cloud infrastructure in a way that satisfies a lot of these different issues around location. And so I think when we saw a GDPR come out, we were like, okay, that's going to be it, but it's going to continue. And it's going to be one of those things that we'll have to kind of weave into our strategy. And then, of course, cloud providers will have to support. And finally, on our fourth prediction, so all of these sort of things sort of crash together into this larger trend that we're seeing that I think almost every business is feeling, but especially in the tech sector, is this whole talent war, is what I call it, or talent shortage. I mean, Gartner just had a report out where they discovered that IT executives see this talent shortage as the largest barrier to really deploying their emerging technologies and their modern applications and accelerating into this online everywhere marketplace. And it's not going away anytime soon. And it's going to be really, really interesting for us to adapt to what many are saying is kind of like our new normal in terms of talent shortage, especially technical talent that knows how to scale and operate complex infrastructure is especially going to be a big challenge. So I think simplicity is going to be really, really important. And some of these managed services and third-party tooling is going to be really important.
Thanks for sharing those predictions. And of course, I like some of those things that you talked about. Of course, security is there and the rise of alternative cloud providers. And of course, I would love to have you back on the show next year, as usual, to kind of hold a scorecard to see how many of those predictions turn out to be true and get the set of predictions for the next year. But before that, I also want to know what is going to be the focus for Linode in 2022.
Well, I think one of our key focuses with our other peers in the alternative cloud sector is going to be to really sponsor and drive awareness of this category, that developers and small businesses and even enterprises have choice in the marketplace. And I think that's really a great thing. I don't think any one of us want one cloud to sort of rule them all. And choice is great for innovation. It's great for developers and it's great for businesses. I think also, for us here at Linode, I mean, we're going to try and really stay true to our roots about, keeping the cloud as simple as possible, looking for those opportunities to make a better customer experience. And then also by doing that, hopefully counteracting some of these trends around lack of skilled talent and some of these other complexities that are now sort of building into the marketplace. And then really last, I mean, I'm super excited to come back on the show or have other teams from Linode to really talk about a bunch of new products, and a bunch of new features that will be rolling out in 2022. So I'm excited about that.
Excellent. Blair, thank you so much for taking time out today and, of course, share these insights that you have for 2022. And as I said, we'd love to have you back on the show. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.